Hello, everyone. Welcome into another episode of the OUA Basketball Show. My name is Griffin Porter. Thank you so much for joining me this week. It's great to talk to you again. We got a great show for you guys. So, why don't we jump right into it and talk about last weekend's action? We'll start on the men's side where we had some really interesting results. We'll start with a couple of nail biter games as Windsor took down Guelph 93-91. Tight finish there. Windsor outscored the Griffins by 10 points in the fourth quarter to pull off that comeback victory. Johan Sam had 29 points in that one, and Dallas Champagny Smith added 11 in the fourth quarter alone. Obviously, a massive part of that comeback. Another close game on the men's side. Lakehead beats York 73-71 on the Friday as Kilian Koulibaly comes up with a game-sealing block to take that one for the Thunderwolves. They beat York again on the Saturday. Carleton beats Queens 86-78. Marjock Okado, MJ Okado, put up 27 points in a great duel with Ollie Engen of Queens. He had 28, but Carleton comes out on top. And they dropped Queens to 1-4 on the season. Obviously, some big losses for the Gaels over the summer, but still 1-4 is not the expectation for that Queens men's program. We'll see what kind of adjustments they can make. Gut check time in Kingston. And finally, the Brock men took down TMU 82-76. They got 24 points from Anthony Hayes in that one. A lot of interesting results this past weekend on the men's side as teams finally start to find their footing a little bit, and we get to get a better sense of who's for real and who is a pretender. Over on the women's side, Brock picked up a big win against U of T before they fell to TMU in that playoff rematch. That's getting to be a great rivalry, TMU and Brock on the women's side over the past couple of years. The Bold once again get the better of the Badgers. They win 70-54, holding Madeline Weinert to just 8 points. Really impressive defensive effort from TMU. York goes to Lakehead and picks up 2 close wins. They improved to 3-1 on the season. Keep an eye on those Lions. And Guelph took down Western 79-69, while Mac and U of T thrill us all by going into overtime. Faith Joseph in overtime scores 5 of U of T's 11 points to lead them to a narrow win. That's their second of the season. Big headlines on the women's side, however, were being made in Kingston. Queens pulling off a couple of absolute statement wins. First, they throttle the Ottawa GGs 80-49. They win that one. They were up 27-9 after the first quarter and just never looked back. A dominant effort from Queens. And then they follow that up with another huge win. They take care of both halves of the Ottawa gauntlet and knock off Carleton the very next day, 67-62. 30 points for Kiana Jade Poulin of the Ravens, and that one not enough. The other big headline, of course, was Kiyara Letlow. We talked about the All-Canadian coming to join Queens. Not only did she lead the Gaels to 2 of their biggest wins this year, she had 16 and 15 points and rebounds, respectively, against the GGs, then followed that up with 12 points and 15 rebounds against Carleton. But in the process, she set an all-time U Sports record. Here to talk about it is the woman of the hour herself, Kiyara Letlow. My guest today is a new addition to the OUA, but she has certainly wasted no time in making her presence felt. Now of the Queens Gaels, Kiyara Letlow. Kiyara, thank you so much for coming on the OUA Basketball Show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate having you here. First of all, we got to get the headline news out of the way. A massive congratulations is in order for anyone who's not aware. I don't know how anyone couldn't be. But this past weekend, you set the all-time U Sports rebounding record. It's an incredible achievement. So many amazing players that have come through U Sports over the years, and you now stand for rebounding at the top of the pyramid. How does that feel now that it's been a few days since you set that record? You've had a little time to let it sink in. What have you been reflecting on?
I've gotten this question a lot the last few days,
I
and
bet.
everyone's like, "How do you feel?" And I just keep telling them I feel really normal. Like, I think on the back end, everything, like, it's a really big accomplishment, and it seems like something has like changed in my life. But for me, I'm just looking at it as like I just go out there and do my job. Like, rebounding is what I really love to do. Like, that's something I'm obviously very good at, and I really enjoy doing it. So for me, it's just like, yeah, it's just a byproduct of doing my job. So I'm very proud of myself, though. I'm very grateful that I'm able to be at that top of that list. Like I can understand that's a great feat. But I just feel normal. Like for me, it's just yeah, just going out there and doing what I love.
Yeah, well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that because I also love rebounding. It's one of my favorite things to watch basketball players do. Uh, is there something that you like? Have you always been drawn to that as like your something that you really love to do on the court ever since you started playing, or is this a skill that a love that you developed later in your basketball life?
So yeah, so I started playing like 9 years ago now.
Yeah.
And when I started, I wasn't very good. So obviously I wasn't getting the ball a ton. The only way I could score was off of a rebound. And I played on some teams with some really great players, and nothing against them. It's just like the great players are going to be ones to take most of the shots. So I always just found that, okay, if I just rebound and I just go chase the boards, that's my way to kind of like contribute to the team. So I just found I would always like just kind of tend to do that. And then over time, I think I just developed a really great sense for where the ball is going to go. Like I kind of know, especially playing with my teammates after a couple weeks, it's obviously a newer team for me, but I know like where their shots are going to fall. So I can honestly put myself in a better position to rebound. And then yeah, it's just an effort thing for me. I just like I don't want anybody to have any second chance opportunities. I want to get a second chance opportunity to try and score if something's missed. So that's kind of just the drive behind it is just like go get it, just straight effort.
I love that mentality. Congratulations again. There's so much I want to talk to you about because we've been talking about you a few times already on the show early in the season. For those who are maybe only tuning into this episode, this is their first episode. You had an amazing career over at Cape Breton University in the AUS. You've now decided to come to the OUA and play for Queens. Just before we get into your OUA time, I was wondering, some Ontario fans I think have a tendency to like focus primarily on the OUA. What should Ontario fans know about AUS basketball? What is that scene like? What's it like, and
Mhm.
how did it treat you?
Honestly, the AUS is very different. The OUA, you're gonna get a lot more of the flashy, a lot more of that style of play. The AUS is a lot of fundamentals, and they play fast out in the AUS. Like that's one
Mm,
thing. Like we played really, really fast on my previous team. And there's some hoopers. Like I think people underestimate the AUS. Like if you're not in the OUA, you don't go to like the big name schools. People really underestimate. Like there's a lot of hoopers that I've played against in the AUS that are very, very good. And I think if you just look at previous national players, it kind of speaks for themselves because we've had a couple that have come from the AUS. Most of the years that I've played, it's been AUS players who have led the country in scoring.
yep.
So when you look at it in that sense, even field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. So don't get me wrong, the OUA has a bunch of hoopers, but I think people really underestimate that the AUS has a ton of really, really good hoopers that kind of just don't get the same clout because they're not in the big league.
That's exactly what I thought you would say, and I agree 100%. There's a ton of great basketball all across Canada, and people sleep on the AUS. It's fun to
Hmm.
watch, especially at the Final Eight and stuff. It's fun to see those teams show up. But you obviously well familiar with Ontario. You're from Toronto, where I am right
Yeah.
now. Uh, how when you decided to make a change, how did you settle on Queens?
Yeah, so I had come out to Queens for my rookie of the year when I had won it my first year.
Hmm.
And I just really enjoyed watching the team play. The next year, they had come to a nationals that we hosted at my school. Again, I was rooting for them, really enjoyed watching them play. And then the next year, we went to them for a tournament there, played against them. That was the first time I ever got to actually compete against them. Again, really enjoyed it. And then at the end of my third year, I was in a tournament and it was like a small 3x3 tournament in Toronto and I played against some of the girls from Queens and again, like we just got to talking. I really enjoyed their style of play and just how they talked about the program and how they talked about their goals as a team was just like something I hadn't really heard from a lot of other players. And I ended up training with one of the girls throughout the summer. And then we just kind of started talking, and it just seemed like my goals for what I wanted to do in my final year kind of aligned with the team goals. And also it was a little bit closer to home for me, which was nice. I'm not on the other
Yeah.
side of the country anymore. And honestly, I just know that they've had a really good program the last couple of years, and I kind of felt like they were missing a very integral piece, and I kind of felt like I could be that piece. Basically from my talks with the players, my talks with the coaches, and even just anybody who has watched their program. They've just been, from what I've heard, missing this one piece. And if they could get that, they could be really, really good. So that was the hope coming here, that I could kind of fill in that puzzle, and then hopefully we see a nice U Sports national medal at the end of it.
Well, so far, I think you're fitting in perfectly. It's been really fun to watch you guys. And yeah, that you actually sort of like half answered my next question, which was going to be this is a program with very, very high standards. The
Hmm.
Queens Gaels, this is a Critelli Cup contender every single year. So, what obviously last year, not a Critelli Cup season for Queens, which as we said is the goal every single season. What's the vibe around the team as you came in? What's the sense of determination like in Kingston?
Yeah, our biggest motto for the year right now is stack the days. So it's just focusing on every day. Like it can get really, the season's really long. You can really get caught up in looking at like, oh my gosh, we just got to be undefeated. We got to do this. We got to do that. But like the biggest thing for us has been, okay, it starts in practice. Stack one good practice on top of another, on top of another, and that's ultimately what's going to take you to the long-term goal, which what everybody's fighting for is a gold medal at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so for us, it's really just been about stacking the days. I know this team is very determined. They were also they were a lot younger last year, so the hope was that me coming in my fifth year would really help out, to bring a little bit of age to the floor. Having some players back from injury has been really helpful. So I think there's just a sense of like just stacking the days, go get it, just really just trying to take it one step at a time because it's a really long season and anything can happen.
Is it tough to bring that veteran leadership when you are new to a locker room, or is that just something that comes naturally to you?
Yeah, I will say in the beginning it was really tough. Obviously it's a new environment. This
Yeah.
team didn't graduate anybody last year as well. So these girls are all super close. So at first I really did honestly struggle, just like how do I find my voice? I came from being the leader on my team to coming into a new team that has their leaders and has everything set in stone. But what I found is that the girls are really receptive to everything that I have to say. Like they're asking for feedback, they want to hear what I have to say, and I think it's just it brings a different style of type of leadership. Like the way I lead is very different than some of the other girls, and I think it's a great mixture. And I think you can see like within the games that we've gotten a lot of production from that type of leadership.
Totally. Well, I mean, like I said, from the outside looking in, it's looked like it's been a fantastic fit so far, Kiara. I know that you've got lots going on. You've probably got lots of celebrations and ceremonies to go to for your big record. So thank you so much for taking a few minutes to come on the show, and congratulations again. Looking forward to watching you guys going forward.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me.
My thanks again to Kiara for a great conversation. Really glad to get to talk to her after her big history making weekend. So, really, really grateful that she squeezed in the time for our show here. Fun games to watch this weekend. We'll start on the women's side. U of T getting on the subway and heading north to take on the York Lions at 6 p.m. on Friday. And then on Saturday, make sure you tune into Ottawa and Laurier. The GGs are sitting at 3-2 right now. And while a lot of teams would be happy for that, you know the Ottawa GGs aren't. They want to win. Laurier not going to want to give it to them. So that'll be a good game. Over on the men's side for the Friday night game, I'm going to have my eye on Ontario Tech. They've struggled to start this year after they had a great playoff run last year. And they're going up against another struggling team in Nipissing. So that might be a bit of a get right game for Ontario Tech. Curious to see how that one goes. And then for the Saturday game, I'll take 6-0 Western against 4-1 Brock, and I will be very, very happy about it. That's going to be a great game of basketball. Thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the weekend of games on OUA.tv, and we will be back next week to talk more OUA action. My name is Griffin Porter. Thanks for watching the OUA Basketball Show.